traveled in fancy planes and automobiles with diplomatic license plates, and carried business cards pretending to be a sultan. Chronicles of his Instagram show his driving a Ferrari, flaunting Rolex watches, Cartier bracelets, and Louis Vuitton bags, showing off expensive outfits for his chihuahua named Foxy, eating opulent dinners, and going on luxurious holidays. Prince bin Khalid Al Saud, 48, resides on Miami's celebrity-studded Fisher Island, where his penthouse apartment door was designated Sultan. He hired bodyguards who wore faux diplomatic badges, and his vehicle had bogus diplomatic plates. He addressed himself as Prince, Sultan, and His Royal Highness, and expected expensive presents from his business associates in accordance with royal protocol. Despite extensive attempts to protect his image, he ignored a well-known Muslim prohibition that any respectable Saudi royal would follow. Doubts emerged when he ordered prosciutto at a restaurant, despite the fact that pork is forbidden to Muslims. When a wealthy real estate investor saw him consuming bacon and other pork products, he recruited private detectives to dig into the claimed prince, eventually leading to an FBI investigation. His enchanted existence ended in 2017 when he was arrested and accused of impersonating another person to scam investors. It was then revealed that he was not a Saudi royal at all. Anthony Gignac was convicted to more than 18 years in jail for impersonating a member of the Saudi royal family and executing a series of scams, resulting in a plot to steal dozens of investors out of more than $8 million. This is the story of Anthony Gignac, the fake Saudi prince. Who is Anthony Gignac? Anthony Gignac was born in Bogota, Colombia in 1970. He was born Anthony Moreno, but later changed his name. His parents abandoned him as a child, and he began living on the streets of Colombia with his 3-year-old brother, while children his age started kindergarten. Fortunately, Anthony and his brother, Daniel Gignac, were adopted by a middle-class American couple after 7 years without parental figures. Their adoptive parents divorced after a few years. Anthony had to step up again as the bigger brother and take care of Daniel. Gignac attended school in Miami prior to his adoptive parents' divorce. His high school experience was pretty conspicuous. Apart from rumors of his outstanding academics, Anthony had a distinctive attitude in school. He was a compulsive liar. Initially, he lied to his peers about his parents' money and prominence. The falsehoods continued to pile up until he was advising auto dealerships that he was a Saudi prince whose father would purchase him a Mercedes. Gignac was suffering from mental illness. His childhood trauma had an impact on his mental health, inspiring him to strive for excellence at any cost. His parents were concerned about his mental health difficulties, so he was referred to a professional therapist at the age of 12. How he started scamming. Following his parents' divorce, Anthony suffered a psychological breakdown at the age of 17. He chose to leave home and convince the Michigan family that he was Prince Adnan Khashoggi, the notorious weapons trader. At this point, Gignac's criminal career began. Gignac started using stolen credit cards to travel about Detroit in limos as a teenager after leaving his adoptive family in Michigan. He pretended to be Prince Adnan Khashoggi, the name of a rich Saudi weaponry merchant. His frauds became more frequent after that, and he relocated to Los Angeles under the name Omar Khashoggi. Gignac claimed in LA that he had slept with a Saudi royal, and it was then that he discovered he could impersonate one of them, since they are powerful yet secretive individuals. He began by fleeing from enormous hotel bills in locations like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Miami, and progressed to defrauding sympathetic individuals into paying off his resort expenses. When he was detained, he'd deceive attorneys into paying his bill by stating they'd be hired by the whole Saudi royal family. When investors met him, he always insisted on the royal formality of receiving gifts. All of this ended in Gignac creating a fake successful firm, Martin Williams International LLC, to defraud investors. He claimed that MWI possessed several pharmaceutical firms, jet fuel trading companies, and expensive hotels all around the world, and he promised hundreds of investors that they could invest in his phony oil company. He was successful in duping investors into investing $8 million. However, this high-profile deal sparked widespread suspicion. His lifestyle. Gignac's extravagant lifestyle was prominently exhibited on his Instagram profile, with the want-to-be king flaunting private aircraft, mountains of cash, massive diamond jewelry, and luxury bags. Gignac, who claimed to be a Saudi prince, bin Khalid Al Saud, flaunted opulent jewels and sumptuous wines, including a 250 bottle of Louis Roederer Cristal Brut and a $1,650 Cartier love ring if real. While he was seldom seen with friends in images of videos, his dog Foxy followed him almost everywhere. His Instagram showed a photo of Foxy in his $2,690 Louis Vuitton dog carrier. On a private boat, he was seen wearing a huge ring and a diamond-encrusted bracelet that he claims are from the Cartier Panthery collection. Foxy is shown on a yacht with Gignac's companions wearing a gold diamond-encrusted leash. In another post, the dog is shown resting on a couch wearing a Hermes collar. During the same video, the Michigan native flaunts 4 bracelets that look to be Cartier. The most pricey one cost $40,100. The fake royal's hand and arms were usually decorated with jewels and stones. Gignac boasted about his affluent Saudi family and attempted to verify it with an Instagram photo of what he said were birthday gifts from relatives. When he wasn't flaunting cash, the Saudi prince from Michigan would post a picture of his black Amex card. Gignac took a risk by splattering Saudi riyals on the steering wheel of a Lamborghini and placing a Saudi diplomatic passport in the frame of the photograph. Gignac was more interested in the material items he might obtain while in America with his diplomatic rank. How he got caught. Anthony has made several trips to jail for a number of financial frauds. His relentless commitment to eliminating poverty in his life and achieving prominence was irresistible. Gignac was arrested and sentenced 11 times for faking a prince or other Middle Eastern nobility starting in 1988. The Los Angeles Times called him the Prince of Fraud in 1991 when he piled up about $3,500 in hotel and meal bills at the Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel, as well as another $7,500 in limousine charges and further fraudulent purchases of Louis Vuitton bags from Rodeo Drive stores. Gignac had told that his rich family would pay off his debts, but he was apprehended and condemned to 2 years in prison. Over the years, Gignac remained in and out of prison on accusations ranging from embezzlement and felony theft to faking a foreign official. In several situations, Gignac continued the hoax while on parole or on bail, such as when he was awaiting trial on fraud and grand theft allegations in Florida in the early 1990s, and convinced American Express to offer him a platinum card with a $200 million line of credit. Gignac was caught again in Michigan in 2003 and accused of stealing $29,000 in apparel, jewelry, and perfume from high-end department shops, Neiman Marcus and Saks Fifth Avenue, including Chanel scents, Brioni clothes, and Salvatore Ferragamo footwear. Authorities claim that Gignac convinced store employees that he was a Saudi prince worth approximately $500 million at the time. He received a sentence of 4 years in jail. Gignac pled guilty to attempted bank fraud and impersonating a foreign official in 2006 and received a 77-month federal prison term. However, rather than abandoning his fraudulent plans after being exposed time and again, Gignac would finally take his deception to new heights. Gignac aimed higher after deceiving hotels and stores out of tens of thousands of dollars. Gignac made contact with real estate developers searching for a wealthy investor to purchase a substantial share in the Fontainebleau Miami Beach Hotel. However, over the course of the negotiations, the developers began conducting due diligence, which raised concerns about the identity of the alleged Saudi prince. Gignac had scheduled a meeting with billionaire Jeffrey Soffer and arranged a major deal before his arrest in 2017. Soffer even arranged a private plane to make his arrival easier. Gignac thought that Soffer would give him a 30% stake in the renowned Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami Beach in exchange for $450 million. Soffer's team realized he was a fraud. A phone call from an acquaintance in Miami was the first hint that Soffer's team was paying careful attention to him. The caller said they were looking to discover whether he owned one of Miami's 54 expensive residences. Next, concerns were raised when he ordered prosciutto at a restaurant, despite the fact that pork is forbidden to Muslims. Gignac realized he was in danger and began acting strangely, requesting an expensive present for Soffer's associate. He received a $50,000 offer, but Soffer's team did a further investigation. First, they checked with the Saudi family to see if he was a prince. The response was negative after emailing a Saudi royal family acquaintance to inquire whether Gignac was a prince. Soffer's team requested the assistance of the FBI in this case, and there was sufficient proof that Gignac was masquerading as a diplomat and traveling using another person's passport. So they followed him from Dubai to Hong Kong to London and captured him when he landed at JFK International Airport with a significant amount of cash. Gignac denied practically everything that led to his downfall during his first trial. According to sources, he is a natural with people. It took some convincing to get Gignac to admit all of his wrongdoings, but he eventually admitted to all of them. During his 2019 sentencing, DSS agents recovered jewelry estimated to be worth $450,000 from Gignac, as well as $80,000 in cash and numerous pieces of costly artwork. Anthony Gignac received an 18-year jail term in 2019 for fraud, identity theft, and impersonating a foreign ambassador. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, he used at least 18 identities and scammed at least 26 people from at least 5 nations, out for more than $8 million. Gignac openly admitted his crimes during his 2019 sentence after lying for years. "The entire blame of this entire operation is on me, and I accept that," Gignac told Judge Cecilia Altanaga, according to the Miami Herald.